Welcome to Salisbury, North Carolina's Local Foods, Local Places workshop. This is day 2 from September 17th. Local Foods, Local Places is an EPA program supported by the USDA and its federal partners.
Officially, welcome everyone to day 2 of Local Foods, Local Places in Salisbury. We're so glad that you're here today. We had such a great group yesterday, such a great day 1. Darlene, I'm going to turn it over to you to say hi to folks while I get ready to share my screen, and then we'll see if Nick is back from the school shuffle as well, if he'd like to welcome folks too.
Yeah, hi everybody. It's so exciting to be back on day 2. For those of you who are new, and I'm not seeing a new face yet, it is Darlene Bird in Washington, D.C., Environmental Protection Agency, and we are co-sponsoring the Local Foods, Local Places program with the USDA. So welcome again. We are in for an exciting evening this evening, digging deep into the actions that you have identified last night, and we just enjoyed our time with you last night. So I think Christine is back and ready to go. I don't know if Nick has joined us again, if you wanted to say hi again. Maybe not.
Great, thanks, Darlene. Nick, are you back? Or are you still juggling kiddos? Alrighty. So,
getting there.
Do you want to just say hi? Hi, everybody. I'm Nick. Anything else you want to mention?
Hi, I'm running around trying to get this taken care of. Welcome everybody back. I thought yesterday was awesome, so I'll be back in 2 seconds.
Sounds great. Thanks, Nick. So my name is Christine Govey with Dialogue and Design based in Central Virginia. I think we have just maybe a couple new folks. So for folks, welcome. We're going to do a quick catch up. And so you'll get caught up to speed. We're really glad folks are making time to be with us today. We really had a tremendous day yesterday across the board. You know, your participation was top notch in terms of engagement. So kudos to all of you. We have a fun and full session. So again, to do a run through of where we are today, here we are on session 3, action, brainstorming, and prioritization. And then session 4, detailing and next steps. And Brian, this gets to your question yesterday about what do we do with the action plan? And the conversations and discussion today are going to be how the community is going to actually realize the action plan moving forward. We will share at the end of the day today, there'll be 3 future calls of the steering committee. Those are open to anybody. So if you want to continue planning this action plan, refining details, then shoot Nick an email, call him at like midnight, let him know that you want, no, I'm just kidding on that. You're also just welcome to email me back. All of you should have gotten an email from me earlier today. So just shoot an email back and we will add you to the calendar invitation for those future calls. So the times are, you know, in a couple weeks from now. And again, we'll share those, but I believe they are something we'll probably email out as well. It's October 6th, 11:30 to 1, October 20th, 11:30 to 1, and November 10th, 11:30 to 1. Popular time in Salisbury to have calls around local foods. So that would be really a way that the community can continue doing the planning. Again, as we mentioned yesterday, you're welcome to attend any and all sessions. So we hope you're here today and this evening. You're welcome again to have, we know a lot of you are juggling kids. It's fine if you eat, if you have pets. Be safe if you're driving, but whatever you're able to do is fine, and we welcome it. Here again is, you know, local photos. We love just, again, a lot of the photos from Bread Riot and from the city. So here we are again for session 3 for this partnership of Local Foods, Local Places. If this is your first session, we'll have just a few introductory slides. Some of you, this might be a repeat. If this is a repeat, I want to draw your attention to a Google survey that I popped in the chat roll a few minutes ago. This is also something I emailed out about 11:30 this morning. This took all the action, so I'm jumping ahead a little bit. So for those of you who aren't quite sure what I'm talking about, we'll get you caught up. But we took all the actions that were generated during session 2 yesterday and the really good combining that each of you did, and we put them into a Google survey. I shared the Google survey in a link just a few minutes ago, and we're actually going to be updating the shared document that we're going to work with in a few minutes. Is anybody not able to access that Google survey other than federal partners? Federal partners, we're asking you to hold off on voting just so community members vote. Anybody not able to access that Google survey? Alrighty, so again, virtual workspace, we encourage you to find a place where you're comfortable working. You know, find a quiet place. If you're in a loud place, that's fine too. You have a beautiful mute and unmute button. If this is one of the first times you've used Google, there's a toolbar along the bottom of your screen. You can mute and unmute yourself. You can start and stop your video. It is really lovely to see your faces, so we can, you know, make connections with, you know, how things are going and how things aren't going. So we encourage you to turn your videos on if you're comfortable, and if not, no problems. If you are in a place with background noise, I'd encourage you to mute yourself, and then just unmute yourself when you are in a place where you can, you know, when you're able to speak. If your connection seems to be spotty for any reason, sometimes turning off your video can free up bandwidth, but again, it's really awesome to see folks. Meeting guidelines, you all rocked it out yesterday. We encourage you to, don't be shy, but do be curious. You know, feel free to use chat for sharing ideas, or you can raise your hand, which is, you know, you can see a couple additional little functions within Zoom on the bottom, and then just step away as you need to. If you need to go tend to something, feel free to do that and come on back. So just take care of your own needs as we move through the day today. We'll do intros, you know, hearing particularly from folks who weren't here yesterday. Again, we are recording the session. Is that a concern for anybody for us to record? Alrighty. We did share the registrant list by email today. You'll get another registrant list in our final package that will include everybody's contact information. So that will have all the federal and state partners, my contact info, Will's contact info, Darlene's. So if you didn't see a federal or state partner in that list today, you will get that as part of the final package. We just wanted to get that out, particularly for community members. We also sent a link to the slides. Some of those slides have been updated around action items. And again, we sent out the Google survey. I want to encourage you to go ahead and fill that Google survey out now if you haven't yet, because we're going to close it in about 10 minutes. In a little bit, we're going to ask you to rename yourself with the goal that you're interested in. And the way that you rename yourself, there's two different ways. You can click on participants in the bottom of your toolbar, and then you'll see your name, and on the right-hand side, there's a little arrow that drops down. You can rename yourself there. Or you can hover over your picture and 3 little dots will show up inside a blue box and you can hit rename. And what we're going to ask you to do, we'll spend more time on this, but that's the goal that we're curious which one you want to work on. So I'm going to be leading group 1 today. So I just renamed myself Christine Govey 1. So we'll show what the goals are in just a minute, but I want to just ask you to consider which goal you might want to work on in a breakout group. You'll have a chance to go to a different breakout group later for our next session. So with that being said, we'll just do quick intros for folks who are new today. We might just give everybody a chance just to say hello, and then we'll get rolling pretty soon, moving into seeing what folks have as priorities for the survey. So I think we'll just go ahead and have everybody say their name and affiliation. And for folks, if this is your first session, you know, maybe one thing that you're excited about in a quick phrase. So I'll just shout your name out and we'll keep going from there. So Darlene, back to you again, name and affiliation.
Darlene, Environmental Protection Agency.
Awesome. Christine Govey, Dialogue and Design. Megan.
Hey everyone, Megan Mcconville from EPR. And I'm joining you for the first time today. I'm going to be helping out with some of the small groups, and I'm excited to meet you all and hear more about your ideas.
Awesome. And Darlene and Megan, if you have a chance to rename yourselves as well in just a second, that would be great. And Will, on to you.
Yeah, my name is Will Cockrell with EPRPC here in Charlottesville, and I am looking forward to day 2. Day 1 was so great, and as a group, it was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it.
Awesome. Thanks, Will. Amy, just name and affiliation for folks who were here yesterday. And again, if this is your first time, we welcome something you're excited about too, which we heard about from people yesterday. Amy.
My name is Amy Smith, and I am a health education specialist with Rowan County Health Department.
Great. Thanks, Amy. Carol.
I am Carol Schmitz-Corkin. I'm with Red Ride and the Rowan Food and Farm Council.
Great.
network.
Awesome. Thanks, Carol. Brian. And folks probably know you'll have to mute and unmute yourselves if you're muted.
Hi, Brian Wimes. I'm an attorney in town and on the board of the Farmers Market.
Thanks, Brian. Alyssa.
Hello, Alyssa Harris here. I am the Executive Director of Healthy Rowan, our community coalition to address chronic disease and obesity, and I'm also the Community Health Manager at the Rowan County Health Department.
Awesome, thanks. That was Alyssa Harris, and now we're going to go to our other Alyssa Nelson.
I wasn't sure, I didn't see Alyssa hop on. Alyssa Nelson with the City of Salisbury in the Planning Department.
Awesome, welcome. Libby.
Libby Post, I'm a registered dietitian, retired from the school food service, and really just interested in seeing what we can do with downtown and what we can do with the farmers market. Really excited about the possibilities.
Awesome. Thanks, Libby. We'll go to David.
I'm David Carell. I'm on the Salisbury Farmers Market Board of Directors, and we are produce producers. We grow all kinds of vegetables that we sell at the farmers market and other places locally.
Awesome. Glad you're on, David. Welcome. Dottie.
Hi, I'm Dottie Hoy. Red Raya Farmers Market, Rowan Farm and Food Network, etc.
Awesome. Thanks, Dottie. Glad you're on. Hannah.
Hey everyone, Hannah Jacobson. I'm the planning director here for the City of Salisbury.
And Hannah, did you and Megan go to school together?
We did. I'm so excited to see you, Megan.
Hi, Hannah.
Those connections are awesome. Megan's going to be in goal 4. Just
come hang out with me.
Yeah. All right, Michael, fine.
Hey everyone, my name is Michael Fine. I work as an agriculture agent for agriculture and natural resources through the North Carolina Cooperative Extension.
Great, glad you're on, Michael. Hey Nick, you want to say hey again?
Hey everybody, I'm Nick Aceves with the City of Salisbury Parks and Rec Department.
Hey Taylor.
Hi everyone, I'm Taylor Marshall and I'm a senior here at Catawba College.
I'm glad you're on. Happy Roots, Ashley.
Hi, Ashley Hornberrier with Happy Roots. We manage local school and community gardens.
Great, awesome. All right, Cindy. Cindy, you're muted. Not sure if you're in a place you're able to unmute and say hello. There you are.
Hello, Cindy Fink with Meals on Wheels.
Great, glad you're on. All right, Andrew.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Andrew Riddle. I am working with the United States Environmental Protection Agency in Region 4.
Awesome, welcome. Hillary.
Good afternoon, I'm Hillary Sherman, working with the Economic Development Administration. I appreciate the chance to be here.
Great, thanks Hillary. Sasha.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Sasha Pokrovskaya. I am an architect with the USDA. I work in USDA AMS providing no-cost architectural design services.
Great, awesome. Thanks, Sasha. James.
Hey everyone, James Meacham, Rowan County Tourism. We own the pavilion downtown where the farmers market is, and just interested in economic development and the food as an aspect for economic development.
Great, awesome. Glad you're on again. Has anybody not introduced themselves yet? Alrighty, so keep those responses coming on the Google survey, and we'll close that in just a few moments. We know if you are joining by phone, you're not able to do that yet, but you'll be able to reprioritize in your small groups. So have no fear, this is just one round of prioritization. So a couple quick updates. First, if you're having any technology trouble at any point, we invite you to pop your Will's contact information is in the chat roll. Feel free to let us know if you're having any trouble in the chat roll at any point. or any ideas, each of your small group facilitators, Megan, Darlene, Will, and myself, have a magic link to all the chat roll from day one. We will include that in the final report as well, but a lot of amazing ideas were shared yesterday. So if you really want to find that, your facilitators will help you do that. Will's phone number is 434-981-8745. For those of you who might not be able to see, Will saying no, but we've already been joking around about this today. So you're welcome to give Will a call if you're having any trouble at any point. He will help you out. And feel free to put ideas in the chat roll as we move forward too. We want to thank our steering committee. You can see the names up there. They've been participating in a lot of pre-workshop planning and calls. Probably they were getting into more than they knew they were when the initial application was made. So super kudos to the steering committee for getting us here today. Really appreciate all of your work. The really just, 1 or 2 minute background about the program. We wanted to share with folks, Darlene, I'll just share this and then see if you'd like to say anything specifically. Really the desired outcomes for the local food, local places is to come up with a community action plan that each of you can help as you want to as a community to realize. So our role as a technical assistance team is to provide this space for folks to come together and put ideas to paper, if you will, virtual paper. But really the action ideas we'll talk about today are really, I encourage each of you to think about how can I help participate in making this plan a reality? Maybe that's connecting to somebody else or helping to write a grant if you haven't the first time, but our role is to help the community action plan come forward. And then the steering committee and these 3 calls that we have, many communities find that it's that continued space for engagement is where momentum really happens. And you dig into your first round of prioritized actions, and then maybe in 6 months, you look at your second round of prioritized actions to use this as a guidepost, if you will, to really grow local foods as a key means to continue downtown revitalization. You have so much to build on in Salisbury and Rowan County already. And this is just an opportunity to grow and strengthen on what you already have. Some of the conversations we have today might be easy. Some might be hard. We welcome both. People have different ideas. And so the small group planning is really a time to do a deep dive around each of the goals. So the end products, again, it's the action plan, but it's also the connections among each of you. So that contact list we shared today, if you are meeting someone for the first time, we encourage you to reach out and say, hey, I heard you mention that. I'd love to get together and talk about that, with our masks on or from a distance or over another Zoom call. So we encourage you to make those connections. Darlene, what else would you like to add about local foods, local places?
The only thing I'll add is the final product that Christine mentioned. That action plan is a guide for you. It's a map that'll help you once this workshop is over. And she said it comes alive, but included in that is going to be an index of resources that you all will be able to tap into and connect to. There are federal partners here that are participating and already helping to generate some ideas. But once this is over, you will have access to all of the federal partners that are here and even some others that are in that resource appendix. So please take advantage of that. It's a resource for you.
Great. Thanks, Darlene. I heard a couple beeps, people joining and leaving. Has anybody new joined the call? Alrighty. So just quickly, these are some of the things we heard yesterday. I love these. This, I believe, about local food makes me healthy and gets money to farmers. That's about as straightforward as it gets in terms of what local food can do. It's fresh, accessible, and important for the community. Should be more visible, easily accessible, a connector and foundation for local development, economic development. And then I believe my community, again, Taylor got the props on this yesterday, the last one. I believe my community has the potential to remind us what it means to be a community again. My community truly cares and has potential, is innovative and generous. And if there are any 2 words that I think are the most beautiful for the way a community member would describe their own community, innovative and generous is pretty awesome. So those are a couple of the highlights we heard yesterday. We also looked at this map, social pinpoint. We're not going to use the social pinpoint map today, but we did confirm the map will be open for the next year, the next 12 months, and available for you to use. We did also talk with Jason Espy, our lead from EPR, with the technical assistance team, who said we can actually pull the different maps. So Nick, this is in response to your question. We can use GIS to pull different points out for printed maps if that's something that you are interested in still. So let us know what specifically might be helpful, and we can definitely pull that together as part of the final report. But again, this map is up and active, and we encourage you to continue using it as you look into putting the action plan in place. So here are the 4 goals. You've heard them. We're going to be sharing what the actions are in just a moment, but this is where we're going to ask you to rename yourself with which goal you're interested in breaking out in. We're going to share what some of the highlights are of the action planning from yesterday, and then we're going to break into our small groups in just a minute here. So again, the 2 ways to rename yourself, we'll welcome your suggestions in chat too, and we'll rename you if you're not able to. You can hover over your picture, and we are going to ask you to put your name and your goal. So Libby, that's awesome that you renamed yourself goal 1, but I'm going to say goal 1, Libby. Post, is that correct? As well. So if you're able to keep your name and add the number, that would be great. So Nick is 4. So we're going to try to have somewhat evenish breakouts between the 4 goals. So if you're joining by phone, goal 1 is grow the downtown farmers market as a central element in downtown revitalization. So that might not be the market only, that might be related to marketing. It might be related to a broader campaign of outreach. 2 is around increased local foods economy to support local farmers and economic development. 3, connect local food and market opportunities to promote health and healthy activities. And 4, provide greater food access to the food insecure in the broader community. So we're gonna have about 50 minutes of small groups today, and then we're gonna come back together for about half an hour, 20 minutes to half an hour to hear all the ideas. So if you don't have a chance to break into the small group you want to, we'll also have a second session later from 3 to 8 that you can break into a different small group, or you can continue in the one you were in before. So let's see, chat roll. I see Nick says, feel free to put me anywhere. All right, Taylor has to roll early. Taylor, we hope you're able to join for the first bit. It's fine if you need to drop off, no problem. So how about others? Are people able to go ahead and rename themselves? Great, I see a lot of names coming up. Again, if you hover over your picture, you can click on those 3 dots to rename yourself, or click on participants and the drop-down menu of more. James, how about you? Which group would you like to be in?
Either 1 or 2 is fine.
Do you have a preference there at all?
Nah, you can just put me where you need to balance it out some.
All right, cool. I'll put you as 1 or 2. Sasha, how about you?
Sorry, I was muted. Whichever place you choose to place me, that's fine.
You said anywhere is okay?
Yeah, anywhere is fine. Thanks.
Okay, cool. All right, Ashley's in 4. All right, so you all are on it. Look at this. Carol, how about you? Did you already have a chance to rename? I might just not be able to see. Carol's 4. Carol, I'm going to put your 4 at the beginning of your name too, so I can see it there. Great, awesome. All right, so here's what we did yesterday. We came up with actions, really great job across the board with the actions. We are going to, we're going to actually be moving into, we have one last shared Google Doc that we'll be working on for both sessions today, but people shared actions. We combined them for those of you who weren't in the evening session yesterday, and then we put these actions into the Google survey, and we'll see what the results are in just a minute. This is the table. This is an example of the table you saw yesterday. We'll be working in these in the sessions today. Again, reminders for those of you who were here yesterday, 2 things to keep in mind as you move into your small groups today. For actions, you'll have a chance to add new actions if your group wants to. We encourage you to begin with a verb and be specific. Think in near to midterms. That's within 2 years. So 6 months to 24 months. Does it help advance the goal? So the action really should have a direct connection to the goal and be a way to help make that goal a reality. one action per post-it, and please write a complete sentence. Think about actions you might be able to help with. And again, a reminder, one action per box. So an example may be expand the number of vendors that accept SNAP at the farmer's market. Or in Salisbury's case, consider ways to have vendors be able to accept EBT at the farmer's market. So think about where you are and where you might need to go and what steps might get there. When we move into the action detailing, this is just a little bit of a preview of what we'll do later, but I do just want to mention, this is a lot of words, but really in moving into the small groups, this is really the most critical part for determining what's going to happen to support the community goals, why each action is important, and who needs to be involved. So think about how long the actions might need to take, what resources are available, and what needs to get there for success. Each group is going to come up with 3 to 5 actions to complete based on the prioritization, but no actions will be lost. So your group might say, hey, we want to focus on these top 3 or 4 actions for the short term, but in the final report that we share with you, we will include all the actions. So we encourage you to also to not use acronyms, spell them out so folks know what they mean. And your small groups might decide to merge some actions together or split them apart. That's going to be up to your small groups. Any questions about any of that so far? That's a lot of information. All right, I'm going to bring up the result of looks like we have 10 responses so far. Our facilitators are actually going to be popping in what the scores are so far, and then we're going to move into our small groups. So here we move into, so Will's going to be renumbering for goal 1. Will, are you ready to roll with goal 1? You're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yep. You ready to go with goal 1?
Sure. Am I doing goal 1 or goal 2? Sorry.
You're doing both.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So everybody can see the results of the survey? Good to go? Yes, you can see them? Awesome. Thanks, Brian. All right. Action 1 is 3 votes. Bear with us, folks, here for a minute. Action 2 is 4. Then 3 is 0. Action 3 is 4 votes. Action 5 is 0. Action 6 is 2. Action 7 is 6. A lot of energy around action 7. We doing okay, Will?
Yeah, I actually already entered these.
Oh, good. Okay, great. You're so fast. So cool. All right, well, we can see what the priorities are. Did you already enter 2 as well?
I wasn't quite done with 2 yet.
All right, great. So we see the results here.
Mm-hmm.
Action 1 and action 2 are both 5.
Yep.
All right.
2, 4
so Darlene and Megan are entering the results for theirs. So all right, Will, do you want me to say them out loud?
Yeah, and 8 is 2 as well.
8 is 2, and 9 is 3, and 10 is 0 if there is a 10.
Yeah.
All right, 4.
Awesome.
Goal 3. Darlene, 1 is 3, 2 is 2, 3 is 2, 4 is 2, 5, popular one is 6, 7, nope, 5 is 6, number 6 is 4 votes, 7, 0, 8, 3, 9, 0. You good, Darlene?
Good, thank you.
Great, awesome. Megan, 4. You good to go on these? Have you already entered them, or do you want me to tell them out loud?
I've entered them, but if you want to say them out loud, that's good too.
I'm just going to say the top few. Action 4 has 7, and then action 1 and action 5 are the top ones for goal 4. So that doesn't mean that the other actions aren't a priority. It just means this is where the greatest energy is to get something done in the short term. So that's just a way to think about the priorities for the actions. And then have a few other ideas. Have a trolley car running around downtown while the farmer's market is open. Discuss what's possible with COVID-19. Discuss which empty buildings could be used, and investigate a local angel investment potential. So some good ideas there. So bring those ideas with you to your small groups. This is what the small group Will, can you pop this in the chat roll if it's not in here, please? The link to the shared Google document. This is going to be, we're just going to be working from one Google Doc today that replaces the one that we had yesterday. So for each goal, just to orient folks, we have the goals on number 1, and then goal 1. These are all the actions that were included yesterday. And now you can see the votes that you just put in at the beginning. So they're in parentheses at the beginning of each goal. Then you can see any additional actions we came up with, and any the federal partners suggested additional detail, we included them there, and notes. There's space for new notes and new actions for each goal, and then action tables. If we get to this point today, we will for the first session. If not, we'll do it later. And again, then we'll go to goal 2, and your facilitator will record for you. So this is our transition point. We're going to move from the large group to the small groups. We're actually going to adjust our time frame a little bit, and we're going to come back as a large group at 4:25. So small group facilitators, if you'll note that, our new reconvening time is 4:25. Does that sound good to folks? 4:25? Great. So if you find yourself, folks, if you get lost, you're going to be stuck with me in goal 1, and I'll move you around just so you know, because this will be the main room. I'm going to do breakout rooms in a moment, and you will automatically go to the goal that you have renamed yourself. And if we need to adjust, we will. Again, Will's cell phone number is in the chat roll. If you have any questions, you might want to jot that down, because you'll have your own chat roll in the in your own space. And it'll take us just a second to break you out, and then we'll close the rooms. You'll see a 60-second warning, and then we'll have 60 seconds to all come back and hear what the priorities are for the small groups. Any questions? Any questions, concerns, ideas from anybody?
Yeah, this is James. Just curious, how's this going to work if you're on the phone and in a car?
Yeah, we will break your audio up. We'll actually put your audio into the breakout room. When you come back, if you come back by computer, use the same link, and you'll join group 1 where I'll be, and you can stay. I'll probably just leave you in 1 so you can easily switch.
Yeah, I'll be mobile for another 20, 25 minutes. So whatever's easiest with just being on the phone. Thank you.
Okay, sure. So I'm going to assign people to rooms now. Will, can you answer any other questions that folks have? Oh, let's see. I see we have a lot of 1s and 4s. Darlene, we only have you in 3 right now.
It's a change. Alyssa, there was Alyssa was at 3, but.
What's that?
I said Alyssa was at 3 before. Did she leave?
Someone had to jump off for a call and come back. Anybody, I know Sasha said she'd be happy to go anywhere we needed. Anybody else want to go to 3?
I can go too. I'm happy to go wherever.
Who was that?
Alyssa Nelson.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right.
Yeah, Sasha's a federal partner, so we need a community member to be there.
Yeah, okay. Anybody else want to go to 3? All right, who's just joined?
Barbara.
Okay, hey Barbara.
Hi,
how are you? Good, we're getting ready to break into small groups based on the goals, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can rename yourself, Barbara, if you have a preference for where you'd like to go. Anybody else want to go to group 3 with Darlene?
It looks
and
like
Alyssa?
Nick is willing to go wherever if you need somebody.
I think. Barbara, where would you like to be?
I'm trying to find where the groups are described.
Health, it could be health, local food, farmers market, or food security.
You can put me wherever you want. One of the food ones would be good.
Okay, let's see here. Alrighty. Darlene. We're almost ready to go, folks. Hopefully. James, do you want to go to 2? Does it matter to you, 1 or 2?
You asking James?
Yep. James, you want to stay in one?
I'm good either way. I guess whatever's going to be easier for you to transfer me via phone.
Yeah. All right, folks. We should be good to go. We're going to come back at 4:25. If you are confused about where you are, then come back to the main room and I'll break you out to where you need to go again. You will need to accept your breakout rooms in a moment. And then again, you'll get a notification at about 4:24 that we'll be coming back to the large room. Any questions before we break out into the rooms from anyone? So again, we put in the chat roll the link to the Google Doc we'll be using. You will all disappear magically from this space and go to your rooms. If you have any questions, let your facilitators know. Facilitators text Will or I if you have any problems. Have fun, everybody. We'll see you back at 4:25. And everybody should be joining us back here in a moment. Hi, welcome back, everybody. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and make these another kind of light purple color. Welcome back, everyone.
Thanks. Hillary, that was perfect timing, Hillary. You ended your point right the second group ended.
Let me make sure. Okay, Nick.
All right. Hi, everybody. Did you have a good discussion in your groups?
Did.
Awesome. Do you have enough time? Not enough time? Anybody have enough time? Some yes, some no. Cool.
Are we already supposed to meet?
What's that?
I'm just kidding, sorry.
All right, no worries, all good. All right, so welcome back. Thanks, everybody. We have, again, another full hour in our later session to do more deep dive around each of these. So really appreciate everyone's feedback. We're going to start in the reverse order that we did in our report out yesterday evening. We started with goal 1 yesterday. We're going to start with goal 4 today. We have just about 3 to 4 minutes for each small group to report out your top ideas and, take a listen to see, jot down notes to yourself about what kind of ideas you think need to be added, what kind of details might need to be added to that goal to bring back to our later session. So we'll have just about 20 minutes for report out, and then we'll do a closing for this session today. So Megan, do you want to do a screen share or do you want me to do a screen share? You're still using the same Google Doc, I take it?
I am, yeah.
I'll be happy to share my screen and then I'll just keep it for everybody if that sounds okay.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good.
Alrighty, I am on goal 1, so let me hop down to goal 4. All right, can folks see that okay?
Yeah, I can see it.
Alrighty.
And we had a couple members of our group having to go to appointments, so we dwindled down to 2 people at the end, so you guys have to flip a coin and see who's going to report, or you could do a team effort.
We can do a team effort. Hop in whenever, Ashley.
And Hannah and Ashley, I put the new numbers of votes in the blue numbers at the end.
Okay. I see. I think our group was really kind of excited to get going on the action detailing aspects. So we talked a lot about kind of what, like how we might break these actions down a little bit, but kind of at a high level. One of the things that we thought was important to kind of a lot of different things, and this is actually on the next page, Megan, is that we look at ways to explore extending the growing season into the fall and winter months. That it seems like it'd be really important, not only for kind of like a mobile food truck, like a mobile truck that delivered food, but also just to, for any kind of a market that would sustain and year round. So we talked about that a fair bit. The idea of the mobile market, we talked about a lot. That was the highest vote getter among the whole group, and we kind of concurred with that. But we also thought that that was kind of a big, kind of a dream project that would take perhaps more than 2 years to get going. So we'd be looking at first kind of forming partnerships, and we'll get more into that, I'm sure, in the detailing. But funding and creating partnerships seems to be kind of the first thing we need to do for a lot of these actions to come into reality. And then something I don't know a whole lot about, but I think it sounds important, is to enlist community leaders to petition the state to release the WIC vouchers before, during the spring, so before the end of June or the beginning of July.
Anything else from Goal 4? Other things to add about your discussion in Goal 4? Megan, other things you would like to add?
I just want to add that it seems like, you know, we need funding. We also need the produce. So, you know, the way I do things, I just create a garden and grow it. So encouraging these downtown churches and any church, community center, school to grow gardens to help, you know, provide produce for the pantries and agencies.
Great.
Yeah, awesome. I think you guys covered it. I think we liked the actions that were there, but then we added a couple more to try to break things down into more digestible chunks, and folks had some really near-term opportunities that they wanted to explore, like looking at the use of this county-owned commercial kitchen that's coming available, and how to take advantage of that. And like Ashley was just saying, looking at some upcoming opportunities to do some community gardens at some of the churches.
I have a question. Does anybody know with the old mall, is that still looking to possibly be the ag building? There was something in the paper a while back, but I don't know.
Our project's kind of largely on delay right now. The county put a freeze on all their capital projects when COVID struck. I think initially that whole project had an $18 million price tag on it. And I think in April, they voted to put a freeze on capital projects, that one included. So I wouldn't see that being any time in the near term horizon due to economic constraints placed on local governments, which is understandable.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, great. So if you have additional questions or ideas, we welcome them in the chat roll. So thanks, Group 4. Anything else to add from Group 4? Any other questions for Group 4? In our hour break, facilitators are going to be adding some of these key details to the table. So that's what we're going to be working with primarily when we come back for the evening session, is the table itself, as well as in our future calls. So round of applause. You have a hand clap button. If you want to use a newer fangled technology of Zoom, a round of applause. Way to go, Goal 4. All right, moving on to Goal 3. Darlene, who's reporting out for Goal 3?
Alyssa.
Yeah. Nick volunteered, but Nick is going to do it.
All right.
Let me know if this is the right page or if you need to go somewhere else.
This will work. I'll be quick. So yeah, we talked about a lot of opportunities. I just want to point out that we combined 1 and 8 and reworded it. As you can see there, it says update the Greenway plan to add farmers market as a destination that could host activities like walk runs, etc. And then talked about inviting those agencies to do those health checks. That would be a big part of this. And of course, doing workshops on cooking and health and nutrition, all those things. The one thing I want to touch on most that we talked about off the top, that the steering committee had talked about, but none of us obviously mentioned it yesterday, and I didn't even think about it either, was the mental health aspect. And then how do we incorporate healthy food activities like therapeutic gardening? And we gave a shout out to Happy Roots there as one group that could help to improve mental health. So that was the big thing we took away. A couple of them, like the bike rack, that's already kind of happening. We kind of joked, maybe we put it on there so we can already say, hey, we have checked one of the actions. We start off with some success. I think the 5th one there, kind of hanging on, is the connect downtown businesses. We like that idea, but it kind of might fall in some of the other actions possibly. So, but we still put that in there as well. Anything else, Alyssa? No. Darlene?
Any questions for goal 3? Any questions about any of the actions? Thoughts from anyone? Are you so excited about goal 3? You look like you might be ready for dinner soon. All right, good. Nick, awesome. Nick's moving a little bit. Way to go, Nick. Awesome. All right, anything else for goal 3? All right, reverse it. Round of applause for goal 3. I have to keep it a little bit exciting here. Is pre-dinner. Thanks, Nick is reversing it. Let's move on to goal 2. All right. Bill, how about your group, goal 2?
Goal 2 was a good group. We had three community members there. 2 of them are on the steering committee. We had 2 of our federal partners on there as well. We got caught up in the conversation, and we didn't pick someone to report out. So it's between David, Dottie, and Brian.
You get to do it, Will. Just do it.
You want me to do it?
Yeah.
I tend to, I can, but Dottie tells me to do things.
Dottie told you to. I'd go for it.
I tend to just go with what Dottie tells me to do. So, all right. So what we did is we actually went through a few rounds of prioritization, actually. So we went through and did some voting, found out that our votes were kind of spread out amongst a lot of actions, and then we said, okay, which one of these have to be in the action table? Which ones must be in there? And the one that really came out was action 2. It's one that Carol came up with yesterday, and it's provide an employee who acts as sales rep for local produce and oversees orders delivery and customer feedback with local restaurants. And that's something that David talked a lot about with the market, and someone to make those connections. And that, you know, sometimes with the restaurants, their schedule each day doesn't match up with the markets, and that, you know, just having the resources and someone who can really dedicate all their effort to helping to coordinate the local foods and other efforts would go really a long way, and that could affect so many of these other actions. So we started with that as kind of a foundation, and the others kind of branched off from that. The other one that came up was find a way to promote the market. This is another one of those actions that can really be tied to some of the other goals as well. But really, you know, this one here was, you know, knowing that the farmers market currently, you know, in terms of limitations on resources to really dedicate to marketing. They do have a great Facebook page right now. We talked about updates to the website and other types of marketing efforts there as well. So we're getting a little bit in detail on some of those, which was really good. The other one, so those were our must-haves in there. We had a few others. The other 2 on the top was partner with local restaurant owners for a food week. We thought that could be tied to that action 2, our top priority one, where maybe that could happen first, and then this would come out of that. And then we talked about having some sort of commercial kitchen space. We tweaked the language a little bit here on action 10 that Hannah came up with, of creating a space for vendors to create value added and for their products. And we thought, you know, a partnership here with the college could be maybe an action detail to that. But, you know, creating spaces there. And Dottie talked about, you know, there are some vacant spots that are around and potentially available, and that have kitchen facilities already there. Can we use some of those spaces for, you know, a kitchen location where that would be available for these value-added products? So I think we've got our actions for the action table already. Did I get it right,
Awesome.
Dottie?
Ready to go. Awesome.
Brian? Yeah. Great.
I wanted to add in the angel investors that I'm looking for.
Yeah, there you go.
Who's got money that wants to give it to whatever goals we've got here? Salisbury, is, a lot of you know, has big history of, that's the way we had Food Lions, because the community came together and put together enough money that they could do that. And we now have opportunity zones and whatever that might mean.
Should we add that? Do you have opportunity zones in here anywhere?
I think I might have put opportunity zones in some notes, but we'll put it right there.
There it is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Any questions? Sure. Any questions for goal 2? Anything else to add from goal 2?
Great job.
All right, snaps for goal 2. Way to go, goal 2. Way to go, goal 2. All right, rolling up to goal 1. Have all kinds of colors in goal 1 here. All right, James, over to you.
All right, hope everybody's doing well. So we really looked at kind of honing into 3 big areas and kind of consolidating some of the initial work. One of the first areas we talked about was increasing access through adding EBT services to the market, and you know, what's needed to facilitate that in terms of dollars invested, so that the farmers aren't having to fork it over themselves, but also a mechanism where this type of customer has the ability to pay, the farmers market have the ability to receive the money. Well, you know, just myself, I pleaded ignorance on that in that process, but you know, what could be done to overcome that? You know, are there grants available to help facilitate that, and if so, trying to secure those? We kind of repositioned the goal in specifically expanding the Salisbury Farmers Market as a central element to downtown, because we already feel it's a key part of it, as opposed to grow it, to increase its influence throughout the community. The second area, kind of down the bottom, we looked at increasing the capacity of the market. You know, how do we expand product offerings, but recognizing one, that's kind of a double-edged sword, in that it has to be the right type of product. It has to be a product that meets the market's quality and standards. But also, you know, do we have the proper infrastructure in place to do that? So is that reconfiguring the space? Is that, you know, one, making sure the street stays closed and permanently? You know, it's been successful this year. You know, what does using the back parking lot there look like in the side and adjacent areas? And then also, you know, investments in that area in terms of building off further private investments coming down there, and also some of the public investments that have come as well. The third one was really a catch-all. We pulled in from different specific ideas, and this kind of dovetails on what Group 2 had of marketing, but really having an integrated strategic marketing plan that hits some of the tactics that were referenced, such as signage. The EBT thing would flow into also increasing access from folks that have public transportation to the area as a mechanism to get there. That could be accomplished by signage, because the main public bus station or bus stops 2 blocks up into the one side over. So developing that signage, you know, there are other unique ideas such as cookbooks and stuff. You know, how does that get wrapped into the marketing plan as well? But then promoting those different aspects to do that. And then, you know, what are funding strategies to make sure that's a consistent funding opportunity, or if it's a grant or an appropriation program. So those are really 3, just kind of wrap it up. The EBT, how do we make that beneficial to both the customers and the vendors? Second, making sure there's a consistent plan to be able to grow the market as new product comes available that meets the standards of the market. And then the third is making sure we do have a coordinated, integrated strategic marketing plan that does address physical infrastructure such as signage, but also finds a way to tie back into downtown arts, retail, and restaurant, which I think succinctly ties with what was identified in Group 2 as well. That's it for us.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, James. Anything else from Group 1? Anything else you want to share or add, or any questions from anyone for Group 1? All right, well, awesome actions across the board. For that person who asked yesterday, what exactly do you mean by grow in goal 1? That question's been answered. I don't know. I kind of jumped to the next goal as James was saying that, but now it's expand instead of grow. So that's the clarifying point for someone who brought that up yesterday. So James, again, snaps for goal 1. Great report out. Thanks, everybody. So Facilitators, as you know, so everyone knows, facilitators are going to be putting those top actions in the table. So when we come back this evening, this is what we're going to be focusing on, basically translating those top actions. So we'll have that kind of the key details that just came out in our conversation. We'll have it pre-populated in the tables here. Facilitators hopefully will have a chance to get a bite as well in there. So thanks in advance, facilitators, for doing that, pulling in those details before we start at 6. So great work, everybody, across the board. We're really in a great spot. Where look at our last slides here. I'm not gonna put it into present. So that's our wrap up of session 3. And our session 4 begins in 1 hour and 10 minutes at 6 o'clock. And that's our final session for local foods, local places. That's where we will continue to put the meats on the bones, or let the tempeh ferment, or whatever the analogy may be that you use. But that's where we kind of let the process cook and stew a little bit. But again, we have these calls 4, 5, and 6. That everybody is welcome to. We'll send details out about it via email, and we'll share that at the end. We did include a link to the day 1 survey in the email that went out today, and we'll have a link to the day 2 survey in our next session. So that's super helpful for our team if you have a chance to fill that out. Any other questions, comments, feedback? Are we missing anything big to really make local foods rocking and rolling even more in Salisbury and Rowan County? Anything else that we're missing? Any other ideas from folks?
I was just going to add one thing, Christine, if I can.
Sure.
So just when we get to these action tables, knowing too that, we have all these federal partners who are there with us. We have 3 more steering committee calls after this. Sometimes people get caught up and really wanting to finish this action table completely. But what we're doing here and how this is all going to fit in is, one, hearing straight from you of, this is your community, it's your plan. It's trying to see what is it specifically that you want to do. And that's part of what we're doing right now, is opening the floodgates and trying to collect as much as we can. And trying to get some of your guidance on who would be involved with it. But like Brian asked before, of how do we actually make these things happen? How do we get it done? That's going to be, there's a lot of work that's going to happen after the workshop as well. And that action plan has a lot of resources in it. And it's all built around trying to help you do that very thing, of take these ideas that you're coming up with. You take it, fill it in, who's going to do it, when, how, through post-processing, just kind of bring in more examples from across the country, some case studies, strategies to how to make this happen, and really fill this out for that action plan. So it's really exciting to see it unfold, and so far just great actions. And I just want to make sure that we're thinking that about kind of the bigger picture, how this comes together when we get into this evening.
And we also really wanted to say kudos to all of you. You've been a really tremendous community working on this so far.
Oh, yeah.
You're engaged, you are making connections across the board. So really great work, everybody. I'm not just saying that because we're working with you. Really great work, everyone. These are the things that we're going to hit in this evening. What is it? Why is it important? We know most of that for the actions. How do you measure success? So for an action, maybe think about, for these actions, how do you measure success for each one of these? What's the time frame? What needs to happen? And right now, 6 months and 24 months, who's the lead? If you haven't thought about who a lead might be, if they're not signed up for this evening and they need to be, you can send the link on to them. They're welcome to join still. Who can help make it happen? What's the supporting cast, and what resources are needed? So we heard about opportunity zones and angel investors, for example, with Goal 2. That would be an example of the type of detail we're going to rock and roll in with these tables in our final session this evening. Anything else? Any other comments, questions, feedback from folks before we wrap? Take a break for our next hour. Folks, yeah, Darlene, go ahead.
No, I do want to say one thing just in case. We didn't mention it last night, but I think I heard in Goal 2 talk about, you all have a Facebook page. Another resource that you have for EPA is that we have a national Local Foods, Local Places Facebook page, and all of you as participants in the workshop are invited to join that. And so you'll hear communities and share ideas and learn from each other. So I can talk a little more. Well, here it is. all you'd have to do is to request to join. And when you request, you put your name and Salisbury workshop that you participated so that you can be accepted into it, because it is a private group. I wanted you to know about that resource.
Great resource, Darlene. Thank you. Here are the call times. Well, this is what we're going to wrap up with. These are our call times that all of you are invited to. Just let Nick know, reply to the email I sent earlier today to let us know if you want to be added to the calendar invitations to continue refining this action plan. With that being said, we have an hour and 5-minute break coming up. We reconvene at 6 o'clock. Everybody doing good? We on the right track? Thumbs up, thumbs down, good? Awesome. Have a great dinner. Have a great break. I'll be on the line for a few minutes. The line will stay open for an hour. If you want to just leave your browser open, you're welcome to. You can turn your video off if you want to as well and mute yourself. You're also welcome to stay on and chat. We'll use the same link in an hour to join again. We'll see you at 6. And again, we'll stay on just for a couple minutes for whoever wants to stay on here.
Maybe David Carell was able to be here today because it's raining. Did that help?
Yep, that's what he told me.
Hey, Darlene. Hey, Will, were you stuck in a breakout room?
I was wondering why we were the only two sitting in there. I was like, shouldn't folks be joining us again?
I wasn't too. I was like, dang, I'm going to keep eating my peanuts if people aren't joining.
And I was just talking to my husband and son, and was like, okay, when I get back on, you have to be quiet. They're not joining yet. Where are they?
I was like, where'd
so
they go?
We can't leave room to come back from the breakout, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All good though. It worked out fine. I'm glad. Yeah. I'm going to start. So welcome everybody. We're so glad to see you for this 4th session. Folks get like super triple gold stars. We're going to ask folks to rename themselves again this session. Just a heads up, if you have not renamed yourself and you would like to focus on the same goal, that's great. Different goal, that's fine too. I'm going to go ahead and assign our facilitators to the goals. Welcome everybody coming back. So there were some pretty amazing food items we heard about last night. I hear a little bit of an echo, so if anybody is joining by phone and computer, you might want to mute yourself, or if you're in a place with background noise, feel free to mute yourself too. Daddy, did you have more Moroccan stew tonight?
No, I had spaghetti with homemade sauce and broccoli.
Yum. That's the best. And broccoli, awesome. Homemade sauce is the best. So good. Anybody have anything that was really yummy tonight? Any favorite dishes for anybody? Will's eating peanuts. Maybe still peanuts, Will? Anybody else have some really yummy dinners? Planters peanuts. Oh, look! They're like peanut friends there, Will and Nick. Nick, are those like little yummy?
Yeah, we eat those.
Peanut butter pretzels. Hi.
I actually made me some avocado toast. I went back to the breakfast for dinner.
Love it. Yum. Hey, Latoya. How are you?
Michael, you got a mini-me.
Good. We're glad to see you.
We missed you this afternoon, Latoya.
I know. I missed you all too. If it makes you feel any better, I was in the rain walking around with people. So.
He was at the movies.
Right.
So I will be eating, so I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem. No problem at all.
Doesn't bother anybody.
No problem at all. So, Latoya, what we're headed towards, some folks who were in the last session have renamed themselves with the goal that they're interested in. So we're going to do breakout sessions again, and I'll put the goals up here in a minute, but think about what goal you might be interested in. Anybody else have anything particularly yummy for dinner? Hannah, Michael, Amy, David, anything super yummy there?
Got to jump on the nut. That's what I
had.
Yeah.
Look at this. I have some My emergency stash of cashews. If I get hungry and I'm eating them, they are available. Michael, how about you? Do you have nuts close by? Oh, you're on mute, Michael. There you are.
Yeah, no, we were trying to pull dinner off from 5 to 6, but I missed it by 10 minutes. So I was notified that when it's finished, it'll get delivered downstairs.
Oh, all right. That's fancy.
Yeah.
That's handy.
Kids kind of threw the timing off a little bit this afternoon.
As happens so frequently. Anybody else?
Like
David, how about you?
Stew.
It's a stew kind of day.
Nothing
David,
too
did you
exciting.
have it?
Mine will be ready when we get done, I hope. So.
Sounds good. David, will you tell us about what you grow just a little bit as folks are joining?
We start out in the spring with all kinds of greens, collards, cabbage, kale, broccoli, cauliflower, and then transition into the summer to tomatoes, squash, cucumbers, cantaloupes, kind of the full gamut. We try to grow some weird stuff. You know, we'll grow artichokes, which is kind of an odd thing here for our area. Different kinds of melons and that kind of stuff to try to, you know, tap onto some specialty crops. And we did a 180 member CSA this year, plus attending Salisbury Farmers Market. We also go to the Davidson Farmers Market as well.
No joke CSA there. That's pretty awesome. That's huge.
Well, it grew. We did 80 in 2019. And our CSA, we do a little different. We do it as a home delivery. So our advertising and everything for that home delivery hit right late March, first week of April when the stay-at-home orders came in. So it was that was a blessing. To perfect timing.
Yeah, I hear that. What's your average number of CSA members, generally speaking?
We've been at 80 the last few years and then went to the 180 this year. So
and was it possible to scale up pretty easily? Was that a hard transition?
The scaling up wasn't so bad this year. The times that we have a hard time filling it is early spring. And the Davidson Farmers Market as well as the Salisbury Farmers Market were both late opening this year because of COVID. So it actually worked well to have that transition to another marketing source during that time to keep everything, moving that we had planted in early spring. If we hadn't had that many members and expanded, we'd have had a ton of extra produce.
Well, that's amazing that you could go from 80 in previous years to 180. Congratulations. And I'm sure the community is tremendously appreciative of that. It's a big scale. So what a tremendous asset. All right. Welcome, everybody. So what's that? It was hairy. I bet it was hairy. What was the hairiest moment?
Just trying to get the delivery logistics of that many. We wound up doing about 5 different routes to get everything delivered over 3 days. So it was a challenge.
Yeah, I bet. Well, glad you're here tonight. We get to have the benefit of your wisdom tonight. So thanks for joining.
Wisdom.
All righty. Welcome, everybody, to our 4th session of Local Foods, Local Places. It's so great to see some new faces. That's awesome. If you're in a place that happens to have background noise, we invite you to mute yourself. If this is your first Zoom call ever, on the very bottom of your screen or your tablet, there is a place where you can mute and unmute yourself. You can start and stop your video. If you're in a place where you're comfortable to share your video screen, we welcome it. It's wonderful to see your faces. If you have, again, some of you diehard Gold Star winners who have been all 4 sessions now, you've heard me say this. If you have kids in the background, totally fine. If you're eating your food, we have a gallery of different nut types that people are eating tonight. Fine if you're eating, again, pets, anything. So welcome. We are really just glad to see all of you. So here is, oh goodness, I think we're not going to do that one quite yet. We want to welcome our new participants to the evening session. We'll catch you up on what has happened so far, and this is our home stretch for Local Foods, Local Places Salisbury. So big kudos to all of you for really great work, continued work so far. Let's see, who is on it? This is your first session tonight. Like Holly, can you hear me okay? Holly Hutchins?
I sure can.
Awesome. Holly, can you go ahead and introduce your name and affiliation, and maybe in just a phrase, something you're excited about this workshop this evening?
Sure. I was a previous vendor at the Salisbury Farmers Market. I do mainly direct farm sales now, and on a very small scale. And then I'm a member of Bread Riot and the Rowan Farm and Food Network. And so
awesome.
Just kind of looking forward to hearing some new ideas and seeing how we can apply them here in Rowan County. So,
great.
And a nurse. And a nurse.
Yes, I'm a community health nurse or a parish nurse. So I'm really looking forward to the healthy food aspect and the local aspect.
Awesome. Darlene, Holly's probably going to be with you. We know. Very cool. Will, would you mind popping the action detailing Google Doc in the chat link? In the chat role, please. That'd be great. This is going to be the same document, folks, that we worked with the last session. And if this is your first session, we're going to be working in a shared Google document, which is really our action plan. So you're welcome to open that up in your browser.
Christine, Alyssa Redmond is new tonight?
Yes, we're going to welcome new people. Thanks, Dottie.
Oh, I thought you were. Okay.
Alyssa, yeah. Alyssa, do you want to introduce yourself?
Is she there?
Thank you.
Alyssa, can you hear us okay? You might need to come off of mute to introduce yourself if you can.
Just in case, her name's Alyssa Redmond.
Thank you, Alyssa. Thanks, Latoya.
Oh, hey. Sorry, I thought you were talking about somebody else.
You're like, that's not my name. Alyssa.
Hey, yeah, my name is Alyssa. I run the bookstore that's about 3 blocks from the, this is my daughter. That's about 3 blocks from the farmer's market, and we've enjoyed some CSAs in the past.
Yeah, and we go to Bread Riot.
Yeah, so just interested in hearing more about what's going on in the community and how we can partner.
Hey, hello.
Okay, we're gonna mute ourselves now.
Thanks for the name correction. Glad you're here, Alyssa and family. That's awesome. And it's fine to leave your video on too, folks. Megan, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hey, everyone. This is Megan Mcconville. I work with Will at EPR, and happy to be here. I got to join for the first time earlier today and hear a little bit more about your ideas in Goal 4. And I'm excited to wrap it up with you all tonight. And this is my son, Sam.
So fun. Awesome. Hi, Sam. Great. Anybody else that's joining us for the first time tonight? So fun to see these families and food. All right, any Darlene, Will, Megan, anything you'd like to share to kind of get us started tonight before I jump in?
No, I say let's jump in. We are on the home stretch.
We sure are. All right. Okay, so again, I just want to echo across the board, you as a community have made tremendous progress, really super well considered actions. So kudos to all of you. What's going to happen in our session this evening is we're going to go into breakout rooms again, and we're going to start putting some more meat on the bones around these different actions that have been prioritized. We do have some detail in some of the groups. If you end up going back to the actions that the group before talked about and pulling in a new action, that's completely fine. We will not be losing any actions. So the full suite of actions that the community has identified will be part of the final report. The actions that we're focusing on this session are really just where the most energy is for the short term. These are the things that are going to be really rocking and rolling and kind of getting things done. So you've already done this for the most part, but just to make sure everyone's on the same page, when we get ready to go out into our breakout rooms and our shared workspace, you'll see this slide. If you end up deciding to do another action to work on or clustering another action, I think all the groups are past this point very clearly now. I do want to just bring up the, the second to last bullet. If you need to break out an action into 2 different ones, that's still okay. I just did that for goal 1, and I'm going to check in with folks to see if that works. And this is really the kind of part of the process that's the most critical for determining what's going to happen to support the community goals. So think about how you want to participate in these actions, or reach out to somebody else who's going to be involved, how long the actions will take, and go from there. So we have this is a really fun part of the process, and also really a key part of the process. There is the action detailing sheet. The shared Google Doc is in the chat roll again. Again, if you have other ideas, we welcome them in the chat roll tonight. So you already know what okay, so for folks who are just joining, what we've done over the last 3 sessions is we have 4 different goals. Just to orient you to what the 4 different goals are briefly, you're going to be focusing on just one of these goals in the groups. So the first goal is now expand the Salisbury Farmers Market as a central element to downtown revitalization, increase the local foods economy to support local farmers and economic development, connect local food opportunities and market opportunities to promote health and healthy activities, and provide greater food access to the food insecure in the broader community. So over in the last session, the last 2 sessions, the groups have, folks have come up with ideas. We've prioritized those ideas as a large group, reprioritized them in the last session in small groups, and now we're getting ready to move into action tables. And this is what the action tables look like. We'll have the action on the left. What is it? Why is it important? How do you measure success? And really what that looks like is, how do you know when you're done? Or how do you know when to move on to the next part of the action or a new action? What's the time frame? Is it 6 months, 12 months, a year? It's the lead role. Who's taking the lead on it? And we encourage you to be specific, not just using acronyms, but spelling out full names. Who's part of the supporting cast? Who else can help make it happen? And what are potential needs or resources to actually realize that action? So that's where we're continuing to head tonight. With that being said, just a couple different things about Zoom. If this is your first call, there is a chat roll, which is a separate button on the bottom, and different resources have been shared in the chat roll. There is a place where you can, when the breakout rooms come up, you'll actually need to hit to accept the breakout rooms to go into them. Then I'll call the breakout rooms to come back together. You'll get a 60-second warning, and then you'll leave and come back to the main room. If anyone gets stuck somewhere, we'll be able to find you. Will, can you put your cell phone number in the chat roll again, please? Just in the very unlikely event that anybody needs it. We'll be coming back together as a large group at 7:15 and wrapping up tonight. And we'll report out by each goal area in the large group and go from there. So want to again encourage you to be thinking about people who can understand what we type and what we capture tonight who aren't part of the meeting. So your facilitators will be taking notes. You're welcome to add details, but make sure someone who wasn't part of this meeting can understand what happens after this evening. Very key. So the breakout rooms are going to be the same. And in just a moment, we're going to ask you to actually rename yourself with the one that you are interested in working on, or we can rename you. The way that you rename yourself, if you hover over your image, you'll see 3 dots in blue, and you can click on that, and then it will drop down and you can rename yourself. And we're going to ask that you put the number next to your name that you're interested in working on. You can also find that in the participant list, or just let us know and we can rename you. So again, we're going to be breaking out across the 4 goals. You can go to the same goal or you can go to a different one. Totally fine either way. So I'll be with goal 1, Will be with goal 2, Darlene will be with goal 3, and Megan will be with goal 4. So as you're renaming yourselves, just want to ask what questions folks might have. Anything else that you want to add before we go into breakout rooms about the process? Any questions from anybody about where we're headed or how Zoom works? All righty. See a lot of folks are renamed. Darlene, anything else on your end that you want to add before we go into breakout rooms? Again, make sure facilitators, you find somebody to do your report out at the end. And folks, remember, it's okay if we don't get every single detail identified in the breakouts. We have 3 calls coming up that anyone is welcome to join after this session to continue to refine and reach out to folks. Nick, anything else you want to add before we go in?
No, sorry, distracted. My 12-year-old is making dinner, so.
Awesome. I hope
trying to keep an eye
on
the kitchen, and so the house is still here tomorrow.
I hope so. Our 10 and 12-year-old are watching The Princess Bride when we have a back-to-school night happening with our other half. So many things happening these days. All right, Nick, which goal are you going to work on? You want to rename yourself, Nick, with your goal? See, Dottie's in 2. Sasha, which goal are you headed towards? Do you want us to rename you?
And did you say how much time we have in this goal? I'm sorry.
We have an hour.
Okay.
An hour in small groups. Yep, full on hour. And if you end up, getting finished before then, just you can put something in the chat roll. It looks like we all still have access to the chat roll in the breakout rooms. So Nick, how about you? Which breakout room are you headed to? What can we put you in?
I'm sorry, I missed it. Are we going to the same group or does it matter?
Either one. You can go to the same one or a different one.
I can
the
go
goals
back
are up on the
3,
screen right
fine.
now. 3? All right. Nick's headed to 3. Cindy, which goal would you be interested in focusing on? I'm sure some people have other things going on. Cindy, Sasha, who else is not named yet? Sasha, how about you?
This is Cindy. Sorry, I was already in 4 working.
4. Awesome. Cindy's going to 4. Got it. Sasha, how about you?
I just added to the chat that I'm happy with any of them.
Awesome. Okay. Ashley asked, are we choosing different groups? You can go to the same group or a different one. It's totally up to you. Who doesn't have a... Ashley's in 4. Hillary, LaToya, how about you? Which goal are you interested in focusing on?
I'm rereading them now. I put
Okay.
my name and then I just unchanged it. So.
Okay. You're still thinking about it?
Dottie, did you switch to group 4? You leaving me?
I know. I got to spin it around.
Yay, Dottie.
That's awesome. Cool. Welcome, Virginia. Welcome. Do you want to introduce yourself and say your name and affiliation? Virginia was there and then gone.
It might be
Virginia,
muted.
can you hear us okay?
I can see a silhouette.
Yeah. All right, Virginia, if you can hear us, can you want to say hello to folks? If you want to take yourself off mute and say hello. Oh, Virginia's connecting. Okay, great. Is everyone named? We'll come back to you in just a second, Virginia.
Okay.
I think everybody has a place.
I was just going to
can you hear us?
It looks like we need some people at 2.
We do. I know, Will. Who's headed to 2? Sasha can head to 2. But we need some community members in 2 as well. So who else would like to head to goal 2? Nick, we might put you in 2, even though you're in 3 right now. How many other folks are in 3? No, we might leave you in 3. All right. Anybody else? 1 or 2 more takers? 4? Was that Ashley?
I can go 2 if you want, yeah.
Awesome, Ashley. Do you want me to rename you?
Oh, I got it.
Okay, cool. All right. Any other takers for 2? Nick says he can go.
I can go to 2. Sorry, this is Holly. I'll be happy to go to 2 or 4, whichever needs people.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Virginia, do you want to introduce yourself? We'll see where you go. Your name and affiliation?
Okay, my name is Virginia Brown, and I am the office manager at Word of Life Family Worship Center, and I kind of met Dottie Hoy over the summer with the Food Distribution Network.
Great. Awesome.
And I'm really glad you're here tonight, Virginia.
Yeah,
Yes, I've been trying to get on, just had some things come up with my family, so I was unable to join earlier. But glad
no
to be
problem.
on.
We're glad you're on, Virginia. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. So we're getting ready to break out into groups to put some action details around some priorities the group has determined over the last few sessions. Which of those goals are you interested in focusing on between the four? Just to put you on the spot there.
I guess 2 or 3.
We will put you in 2. That's awesome. All righty. So someone had offered to go to, so now we have a lot of people in, I think we're good. I think we look good to go. Darlene and Will, looks like we have pretty good distribution here. All right, so again, folks, what will happen is I will open up the breakout rooms in just a moment. It's going to take me a moment to break people out. You'll need to accept to go to a breakout room. You'll go to a totally different space with just your facilitator. And then we'll come back together after I close the breakout rooms at about 7:15, 7:18, something like that. Facilitators, if you need more time, just feel free to put it in the chat roll. I'll keep an eye out for that. Michael says he'll be right back. I'm going to pull Carol into 1. Does that seem like a good place for Carol? Do folks think? What do you think, Dottie? Is that good for Carol 1? Couldn't see. Maybe. I'm going to.
So Carol would be great in number 2 as well.
Okay.
Yeah, she would.
2? Okay.
Put her in 2.
Put her in 2. Okay, great. Last call. Does anybody want to change groups that you're in now that we have pretty good distribution? Ashley, it looks like there's plenty of people in 2, so if you want to go to a different one, you can. All right, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I'm going to take a moment to assign rooms now. Everybody, welcome back. Happy evening. We're so close to this awesome community. I'm going to pop up a screen share here. And we are going to do a report out from each group. And
Rafaela.
All right, how was that? Did you have
that shirt? You need to turn that shirt around.
Oh, yeah.
I should, but there's like bug holes everywhere. It's old. I would though. If I didn't have all
if it's
these
that
bug
old,
holes.
throw some paint on it and cover that word up.
Aww. Yeah, right. It's been hit or miss.
All righty. Well, welcome back, everybody, to the ending part of our session 4. So how are those conversations? Did you have good breakout conversations?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good. I saw thumbs up. Others? Awesome. Well, I realize at least for goal 1, we're not going to be able to see much on this one, so I might have to change my screen view. Let's see, goal 2 or goal 3? We're going to start in the middle this time. Who would like to start? We're just going to have a couple minutes per goal to report out, and then we're going to close up this evening. So who would like to share what your top ideas are from your group? Will, Darlene, we'll start with you.
Okay, so Alyssa, you can go ahead. You don't have to give all the details, just your top ideas that popped up.
Are we saying the 1, 2, and 3, or would be the top?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can everybody see that on my screen? Looks okay?
So for number 1, I'll just dive in. We talked about updating the Greenway plan to include the farmers market and to have ways that activities could stem from the farmers market, like running or walking activities. So our ways to measure this, we were saying, is update the Greenway plan and add a edible arbor trail along the route, among other things. I don't want to kind of go into all the details. Does that cover that? yeah, okay. I'm gonna keep going. Invite local agencies to offer screenings, blood pressure checks, and other community service activities. We were saying to target folks that are uninsured, seniors, 95th percentile of obesity population, and we hope to see an increase in activity of this by the number of tests and community organization participation. And for the third top item, we said enlist health nutrition professionals to offer health cooking recipes at the market, create workshops to teach people how to create healthy meals and snacks. We hope to work with downtown restaurants, businesses, let's see, who else did we say? Livingstone College, and test this by the increased exposure and comfort of people trying different foods. Let's see, I guess that's where I'll stop. Any questions or more information?
And Nick, did you want to add anything?
And then the just about the mental health, just again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So just improving mental health. We talked about, we have a Veterans Administration in town. We could tap into veterans and maybe PTSD patients, and using gardening as a way to be therapeutic and cathartic, and just maybe run health department numbers, indicators that they screen for every year or test for, may have an impact there. And again, tapping Ashley and Happy Roots and others to help guide us through all that.
Mm-hmm. And I'll just add one thing we tried to do, thank you, Hillary, giving us some input, is to think about connecting access to local foods, health, nutrition, and economic development to try to attract some funding that would support some of the actions. And then one thing, we were looking at the time frame for a lot of these were happening around the same time, but thinking about COVID happening, it may limit us from going to doing some of the activities, but the cooking classes could happen on Zoom. We could get some partner with some of the restaurants to have some Zoom cooking classes or workshops to get.
And we, two more things, as I think Latoya's still on, is we talked about one about winter and maybe an alternative if COVID's in the way of doing some of these cooking classes. But I think an unmentioned theme with this in my mind is tangibly, and we kind of say that word in one of these, but just tying positive experiences with healthy foods versus saying, hey, you should eat healthy. It's doing experiences that people enjoy, and they link that enjoyment to healthy foods and producing healthy foods.
Very cool. Any questions for Goal 3? Great work, Goal 3. That's awesome. It's really exciting. I want to attend some of the cooking classes. Snap, 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 snap. All right. Rolling on to goal number 2. We're going to hit the middle since we've hit the ends and other report out. So, Nick, who's reporting out for goal number 2?
Nick or Will?
I said, Will. Who's reporting out for goal number 2? It's not late. It's early. Just kidding. It's bedtime.
I couldn't get YouTube and Facebook straight, so it's no problem. Yeah, so Carol, Ashley, did you want to? He's still on the call.
Carol, you're muted, but
yeah,
there you go. Great.
Well, I was looking at supporting cast for 3, and I think we could probably put a lot of those agencies in our supporting cast as well. So expanding on the downtown farmers market with value added, let me see, expanding on the, it's very tiny here.
I'll make it a little bit bigger. Sorry, it is hard to see. Let's see if that's gonna.
Yeah. So,
is that a little bit better?
Expanding on a year-round market, and we did need to entice some local farmers to grow year-round. I think there is an interest with some of the vendors in continuing with the market in the months January through March. We talked about number 2, which was the most popular, or that was the item that had the most votes, about providing an employee who acts as a sales rep. And so we talked about not only would they be a sales rep, but they would help educate consumers about what produce is in season when, and maybe the health benefits of some of those, which could go along with the cooking classes, and that they could help with marketing the farmers market. And we want to see somebody in place within a year. And Sasha recommended quite a few different funding sources. That there's a farmers market promotion program, there's a value added grant. We may be able to fund that position. Part of the, we also said develop a program for marketing the Salisbury Farmers Market, and that's something that the farmers market has been working on for years. And I think they are open to suggestions, and I think it would be really beneficial, or we talked about, to have some outside sources that are experts in the area of marketing to help. So, Will, Ashley?
Ashley, would you like to add anything to that?
I think she's on the phone. She says it sounds good.
Oh, sounds good. Okay. Yeah, I think that was great. Covering, are you back, Ashley?
Yeah, I am.
I think bringing up online cooking classes is one thing we talked about. So it's interesting to hear the other group talking about that. So it's a really good idea.
Little echo there, but that's okay. We appreciate hearing things twice sometimes. Anything else for goal 2 for the additional actions? Carol, you or Ashley, did anything else you want to add for this one? Will?
Which line are we on?
I think number 4.
Which is partner with local restaurant owners for Local Food Week.
I like it. We send some herbs and produce to Sweet Meadow already. I'd love to connect with more restaurants, get more restaurants serving.
Yeah, Pinocchio. We also mentioned Pinocchio's has a few local items on their menu, but our goal would be to have every local food, or have local food in all the local restaurants.
Yeah.
At least 1 or 2 items, that would be really nice.
Great.
One of the things we'd have to help restaurants do, and I can get some copies, but there are restaurants that their menu, when you feature a food from a local farm, it says, roasted beets from Corral Farms or whatever. So you have to help the restaurants know how to do that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Bread Riot's done a few things like that. Not this year, but last year, Happy Roots did a week not Happy Roots. Sweet Meadow featured all the a couple of different local dishes. Pinocchio's has been very good about doing that. I think even at one time, the Caper did sausage from 2 pigs. So, but it's just, you need that middleman.
Mm-hmm.
You need somebody to kind of push it and be the liaison.
Yeah, we've given stuff to Sweet Meadow before, and they'll go ahead and, and cook with it. And then we'll be like, well, you could have done something cool and been like partnership with local nonprofit, and do a little marketing and advertising there. But just help on both ends.
Latoya, were you going to add something?
I feel like I'm adding something else to my plate. But as it pertains to, the downtown businesses specifically, and communicating with them, if there's information that you guys want shared, things that you want them to know, from that standpoint, I can push that information. I just ask that you, share it with me. We can discuss different things. And again, I can push that out to them. That doesn't mean that, hey, they'll do it. But I can at least make them aware or say, hey, actually what Happy Ruth may come and talk to you more in detail, or Carol may come and talk to you in more detail. But again, from a communication piece of downtown restaurants specifically, I can assist with the getting word out about certain things.
Awesome.
Awesome. That's so cool. Great. Thanks, Latoya. Will, anything else for goal 2?
Yeah, we started with, and we spent most of our time early on talking about the action on the second page. And that's the create a space for farmers market vendors to create self-value added products. And that K&W site, that might be an opportunity, and really having a place where we set up short, mid-term, long-term kind of measures of success there too, of getting a space and having, teaching being a part of that. And then having this side of having increased value added products for the market. And then even using that space to help vendors potentially transition to brick and mortar opportunities if they're interested in expanding in that way. And possibly even having spaces in other parts of Salisbury and Rowan County where some of these services might be provided, whether it's education or helping entrepreneurs or creating these value-added products.
Okay, awesome. A lot of great ideas. I love how that's breaking, the measures of success are broken out in different phases. It's really awesome. Yeah. Anything else? So great work, goal 2. Anything else briefly to add for goal 2? Any questions or things folks want to add? All right, new one. Instead of snaps or a round of applause, just because it's getting late, we could do elbow rubs. Elbow rubs for that's new. But hey, gotta keep it exciting here. All right, let's move on to goal 4, and then we're gonna bop back up to goal 1. We have about 4 minutes per goal. So Megan, over to you.
Cindy, you wanna breeze through this one?
Unmute.
You're muted.
Thank you. We want to start the mobile farmers market that travels to food insecure areas on a regular schedule and a permanent basis. And we identified all the little details that go with that, and some of the supporting casts that we could use, some grants, primary grant funders, faith communities, housing authority, and the lead role would be probably Bread Rot and Rowan Food and Farm Network. And can you scroll it up a little? Thank you.
Can you see it now? Can you see it okay, Cindy?
Or go to the next
yeah, or go, yes.
Okay, got it. There we go.
Okay. The second one is to enlist community leaders to help petition the state to release the WIC and senior vouchers before the end of June or beginning of July, when we've been getting them. We know some counties do get them earlier. We aren't sure exactly why, but we want to find that out and get some of our elected leaders to help push that idea. And maybe Amy and Carol, we understand that you guys are already planning to lead that charge. So we're really happy about that. And then 3 is to increase the utilization of the WIC vouchers. So it's kind of chicken and egg. We don't get our vouchers early because our utilization is low, and our utilization is low because we don't get our vouchers early. So we feel like we can increase that utilization and create more buzz about using them early when we get them earlier. So that's 1, 2, 3.
Great. And are there more fourth?
There is the fourth one, and then we had a couple others, but we didn't detail those out. Exploring opportunities for farmers to extend their growing season. We've talked about this. Dottie has mentioned, and Holly have mentioned that it is expensive to build these greenhouses. We talked about the collaboration between solar and greenhouses, and the fact that in order to interest farmers, we need cooperative extension to bring in some of their experts to talk about where the profits are in these fall and winter and early spring foods. And also maybe that might be where they do specialty foods or specialty herbs for ethnic restaurants and where there's a higher profit margin. But we know we need the support of cooperative extension and Rowan Cabarrus Community College. And there's going to need to be probably some funding along the way to encourage these farmers to do maybe some pilots. You know, there's always an opportunity to do a little farming pilot. Y'all don't know, I was a farmer in my youth. I did a tomato pilot where they used to farm tobacco and raised ½ acre of tomatoes.
Huh.
If you don't know, that's 3,140 tomato plants in a ½ acre.
That's a lot of tomatoes.
So there you go.
That's awesome. Well, Cindy, thank you. That's so cool. Anything else? So a lot of actions there. It sounds like there are a few more that you talked about, but you didn't get a chance to detail out. Any other additions for Goal 4 or questions from anyone? All right, well, everybody, I guess pretend you're wearing a mask to celebrate Goal 4. Good job, Goal 4, good job. All right, Nick's like, they're getting strange. All right, so going up to goal number 1, we have, it's a little hard to read here. Who would like to report out for goal number 1? We didn't actually decide that. Amy's on the phone. Carol's name was invoked. LaToya, David, anybody want to report out for goal number 1? Alrighty. I will share briefly. Anybody else want to share goal 1? Amy, you're off the phone. Do you want to share goal 1? You're on mute there, Amy. It looks like we have about 3 minutes for goal 1.
Okay, so we talked about increasing access through adding EBT services to the market. And Carol, I hope you don't shoot me, but I know this is something that we talked about earlier. We talked about looking into this and working with the state. Sometime this coming fall before the market gets up and running for the spring of 2021. And Michael has also offered to connect with Uptown Charlotte Market because he knows that they do accept DBT. So we're going to look at that, see what is required as far as technology at the market or with the EBT cards. But that is something that we feel will be a win-win situation, but we need to make sure that there is actually a need. And one of the things we talked about is to actually go and talk to the community and the recipients of the EBT or possibly WIC vouchers to see what their needs are instead of us deciding that for them. We also looked at increasing the capacity in the market to expand product offerings. And so we talked about LaToya offered to help some of that. The DSI, and David said that he would help her as well. And they're looking at maybe offering or looking at local businesses offering their services or promoting their services at the market. And then we also talked about maybe bringing in food trucks to the farmers market as well. And number 3,
you see it okay?
Was to integrate strategic marketing plan to grow the customer base And we talked about doing directional signs. I know that was something that was discussed with Rowan Tourism, but I think when COVID hit, a lot of their monies have been hit as well. And so that may be something we can look at in the future. I also suggested maybe working with Healthy Rowan and their Duke Endowment Fund to see if that's something Alyssa could possibly provide us some directional signage. David shared with us that he had spoken with Carol about a cookbook idea, and we thought about maybe working with local vendors downtown to see if they would be willing to sell that once it was created. And then we also talked about promoting the market to public transportation. And I know that Rowan Transit and Salisbury Transportation have been great partners in trying to promote the farmers market, and they're willing to do posters. But I think the thing that we're not too sure about is who would take this on, because we don't know where the monies would come from for marketing. So that's one of the things that we need to figure out. And then LaToya also shared with us that the depot is willing and able to do a lot of advertising about, you know, downtown events and what's coming about. So that's one avenue that we haven't really marketed to or asked to market. So that's one thing that we may need to look at as a partner or a community partner as the depot, as people are coming in and off the train and at events at the depot.
Great. Awesome. Thanks, Amy. Appreciate that. Anything else from goal 1? Any questions? Anything folks want to add? All right. Well, just big round of applause. I hope everybody takes themselves off mute or doesn't, but big round of applause. Great job, everybody. Nick is dancing around there. Seriously, the really great work across those actions. It's a lot of work for a second evening meeting, and really some great ideas coming out. So appreciate everyone's work on that. So where are we headed? Will, I believe, has just put in the chat room a survey for today. We are going to just wrap up with a couple next steps, including how you can become involved. So Darlene, would you like to mention our day 2 survey, please?
Yes, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, we would like to get your feedback on your experience with the workshop. Right now it's designed as if we were meeting face to face. So there are some questions in there that may not be relevant for our virtual space, but if you could take the time just to complete it, it will only take a couple of minutes. You can either click on the link that Nick put into the chat, or if you have a QR reader on your phone, you can put it up to the screen or up to the slide, and you'll be able to take that survey. The day 1 survey was sent in an email to you all earlier when you did the polling for the prioritization. So the QR code is up there right now. So we do have the survey, and I did want to remind everyone that you could connect to us on Facebook, and not just to us, but it's a community of practice of those past communities who've worked with LFLP and received technical assistance, as well as the current round of communities that are getting the technical assistance, so that you can share ideas and learn from each other. So please take advantage of those resources, and please take a few minutes just to fill out that survey, because it helps us improve these deliveries of the technical assistance for you and other communities.
Yeah,
it's been a pleasure to work with you all. This is going to be my good night. I probably won't talk anymore. So it's been a pleasure to work with you this past few months.
Sure has. What a tremendous community. I love that QR codes, like really now all you need to do is hold it up and it will automatically scan the screen. So this is for the Local Foods, Local Places Facebook group, this particular QR code. We wanted to introduce the survey, so you had a few minutes to fill it out as we wrap up here. Just zooming back for a second. So you've heard report outs from the group. Where we are headed next is that we have 3 post-workshop calls coming up. We've mentioned those a few times, but that's where the technical assistance team pulls together all your hard work, puts it in one place. But not only that, that's where we pull together, the resources from federal and state partners, grant opportunities, and pull it all together in one plan. The maps that we've used in Social Pinpoint will be available. And we really want to encourage you to reach out to folks who might not have been here the last 2 days to see who else might be involved need to be involved to implement the plan. So that's where we're moving into the act phase. You know, in the coming months, we'll pull together the final action plan, but it's really just the starting point. You've done so much with the farmers market. It's COVID. How can you continue to grow? Support for local foods and farms in Salisbury and Rowan County. So this is an opportunity to build on the opportunities and challenges of 2020 moving into 2021. So we're really excited about what comes up. I'm going to share those dates with you and then actually ask in a moment for you to pop a couple closing ideas into the chat roll. So here's where the final dates and times are for these upcoming calls. And Nick's contact information is in here. If you want to join the group, you're welcome to contact Nick, or you're welcome to just email me back. I sent all of you, should have gotten an email today with the information about the survey. So you're welcome to just say, hey, please invite me to, add me to the calendar invitation for those 3 calls. They're open and we will continue to refine the action plan on those coming up calls. So all of you are welcome to join. As we get ready to wrap up today, we're going to ask everybody to pop into the chat roll 2 things. This can be just quick phrases. One, we're going to ask, what is one thing that you would like to offer or provide to advance the action plan, or some of the ideas that have been shared today? And what is one ask? What is one thing that you would like to put out as a hope or expectation from the process moving forward? So we're going to ask everybody to stretch your fingers or type on your phones and pop in the chat roll, 1 offer and 1 ask for a minute. We're going to see some ideas that come up. Great. I see someone's offering to help getting this plan into fruition. Awesome. Grant opportunities, offer, connect to possible resources, keep in touch with us at EPA and USDA. I can offer my volunteer hours or be for hire on a part-time basis. That's awesome. To assist in bringing more downtown businesses involvement into the market. That's great. I expect to see more participants, vendors, and organizations at the farmers market. Assist in applying for grants. That's so cool. Only available to local governments. You have the city right on board with you, which is a gift. Sasha is ready to help you with buildings and space design. She means it. There's her email address. Take her up on that good offer and keep up the energy and good work. Nick says, expect to see the continued energy and synergy around the project. So feel free to keep them coming. Last offers and asks in here. A packed farmers market next spring. Oh gosh, I totally skipped over Will's daughter. I have got to go back to that for a minute because it's so great. Sorry, I hope I don't close your eyes if you're gonna get dizzy, but it's such a great photo because I'm so inspired now to go to Salisbury. Will, where is it? Where is she? She's so cute.
No.
Oh man, where is it? Where is she?
I promised her she would be in an EPA report, though.
I put some photos of Will's daughter in here. She is really cute.
Yeah.
Will, maybe you can just put it in here for a second. He has some photos of his daughter in this rainbow dress dancing around at the Salisbury Farmers Market. That is just, they're the most precious photos you can imagine. So really sweet. So Will, feel free to screen share there. All right.
Yeah.
With that, folks, it is 8 o'clock. Nick, how about you want to offer some closing words, Nick, as we get ready to wrap up today?
I'm just excited with the turnout and everybody's energy to, and here's the bonus, because everybody did so well, now we're going to go to 10 o'clock. But yeah, so thank you for everybody for helping out, and nice to see all the local faces. And like I said in the chat, I look forward to seeing the energy and synergy from this group moving forward. And I know there are other people that had to log off, but want to still be a part of this. So please keep them involved as well.
Great. All right, Will, Darlene, anything? Oh, Derek, here she comes.
There she is.
Where was it? I knew it was in there.
She was at slide 95.
Look at that.
Yeah, there she is.
Isn't that such a great photo? Doesn't that make you want to go to? I'm like, I want to go dance in a rainbow dress at the farmers market in Salisbury. That's so awesome. Yeah. Will, Darlene, anything else you want to add, or anybody else before we get ready to wrap up today?
Congratulations, and thank you for staying plugged in for these evening sessions. And thanks to all the federal partners that were able to join and contribute. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And yeah, you are an amazing group. I'm looking at the attendance and how many people were here for all 4 or 3, even 2 or 1. I mean, it's just everyone who's involved, and I know that this isn't the end, and the steering committee is meeting 3 more times, and as we're pulling this together, working with the federal partners. And Nick kind of hit on this on session 1 when he was first introducing this, but this is a lot of work, and it's a lot of fun work. And I love feeling the energy from everybody on this, but we're working ourselves to the start line, not the finish line. And the action plan is really getting us ready to then move those actions forward, of providing what we can, kind of like what Brian said, of how do we make this happen, and really trying to outline this out and give a really good resource for you. That this is your resource, it's your plan on how to move forward. And it's all about taking this and keeping that momentum going forward. Those are the ones that actually get it implemented.
Yeah, great. Awesome. Well, thank you. Dottie, quickly, you're up. Cindy.
We got our Salisbury magazine today in the mail, and Ashley and Happy Roots is on the cover of it.
Oh, cool.
Awesome. Yeah. That's so cool. That's so cool.
Someone texted me and showed me a picture, and I was like, what? I had no idea.
That's awesome. Yay, Ashley. That's so cool. Congratulations. Cool. Happy Roots for that, and Ashley. Awesome. Anything else briefly before we wrap up, folks?
I put a link to the day 1 recording. So if you missed it, we've got it right there.
And we'll share that out.
Hey, last thing, I'm going to interrupt real quick before everybody logs off. Thank you to you and your team and everybody, Darlene. I mean, to put this together, I think we talked about it a little bit last night once everybody logged off, but to do this without not being in person and everybody staying engaged, I think you guys did a great job.
Yes, thank you, Christine and Will.
Thank you
again for joining us. We so appreciate. We had to pivot this year, so it has been a different experience for us. I think it went very, very well, and I'm pleased. We learned some things too. So thanks to you for just being patient with us. Hold this together.
Yeah, great.
Oh,
so
Carol,
folks, we'll stay on for a minute or two if anybody has any last minute questions, but I want to let people go. Is there anything key anybody needs to add real quick? All right, everybody, high five. High five up. Keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. Good job, everybody. Congratulations on an awesome project. We'll stay on for a minute or two. And thanks, everyone. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.